I love this track from Coffee. Track is called Lonely. Start 548282247. This is how we do what we do when we do it.
Let's think and talk about the things we want to create. From now on, let's think and talk about the things we want to create.
The project is called Perfect Friends.
What's in your heart?
I got DJ RJ out of Austin, Texas, and the legendary Moe.
We used to talk about.
Like Moe doesn't even know that I've got a whole different set of questions for him, boy. Because Moe is like,
I'm changing my story.
it's like, I guess the only person that probably didn't build a certain location, but has been there forever. A legendary
I made up my mind.
Texas reggae spot, huh?
Time to live my dream.
Like I said, the project is entitled Perfect Friends.
I choose.
And it's an absolute pleasure to have DJ RJ and Mr. Moe. Morning, gentlemen. Morning.
Morning. Morning.
RJ, I'm trying to think now. I'd have to literally go in Facebook, but you and I have been communicating for years.
Yeah.
Via Facebook, right?
Yeah, a couple years, 4 or 5 years, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And you yourself are kind of a legend on the reggae scene in Austin. Tell us a little about how you got into reggae and what the reggae scene in Austin is like.
Well, I have to go way back to the 80s when I was doing radio, doing hip hop and R&B. And then suddenly KRS-One, did an album with Sly and Robbie. And Sly and Robbie just really caught my attention.
Wow.
Got deep in my soul. And then around 1989, I went to Sunsplash in Jamaica. And when I came home, life was different,
You were never the same, huh?
Never the same. So I decided then I was going to change my format to reggae because there was no one on my station doing the proper reggae Jamaican vibes like I wanted to do it.
Right.
And at the time it was Steele and Clevie. They ruled everything.
Right. Okay.
And those guys were my heroes besides Sly and Robbie. So it's really the inspiration of all the pioneers of this music.
All right.
That inspired me to make this move.
Do you play an instrument?
Yes, sir. I play drums and keyboards.
Okay, so I'm going to guess you were the dynamic duo, Sly and Robbie, but you're leaning a little more to the drummer side.
Yes. Yes. Mo plays bass. I play drums.
Okay. All right. So let's get Mo in here because I feel like, I saluted you when you guys came on. For the listeners, we can see each other via Skype, but Mo, you are a freaking legend, bro. I mean, come on. How did you get into reggae?
Well, I started playing music in nightclubs when I was only 13 in Tokyo, but we played rhythm and blues and things.
Stop.
1973.
You can't slide by. Hold on, Mo. You can't just slide by that fact like that. In Tokyo, at 13, in clubs. Now you're a military kid, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes,
so
sir.
That would explain the Tokyo side.
Yeah. My dad was stationed in Japan there near Tokyo, and it was funny because I used to sing in church, like most of us all did, and but I would sing around the house to the radio and listening to other singers,
Right.
And so my father got promoted and he wanted to have a party, so he was going to hire this band of guys that I knew from school to play at his party. So he had told them they had to audition, and there was about 400 people there eating dinner. And they got up and they played instrumental songs. And he said, "Well, who sings?" And the guys knew me from school.
Okay.
And we used to sing in the showers in the gym class, you know. And they said, "That kid with you, he sings, you know." So my dad said, "Get up there and sing right now."
Wow.
So I got up and sang, and the band hired me on the spot.
Do you remember what that song was?
Twist and Shout by the Isley Brothers.
Nice. Okay, so now you're a singer.
Yeah.
You also play bass, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is kind of on the lesser side for people who play gits. Usually singers are playing lead.
Well, that's too complicated for me.
Confessions for the soul.
I started playing bass because I guess it was in about 1968 or something. I first started in 64, 65 singing, but I didn't play bass till probably 1967 or 68. We had a bass player in the band that left to go to college, and I had a bass at my house that I got in Japan, and they said, "Well, you know, I said, "Who's going to play bass?" And they all looked at me, you know, and I was like, "Well,
you know,
I can try."
Yeah, because you said it's too complicated, but I have spoken to many a bass player, and they say they either have to do one or the other. They either have to play bass on the song or sing, but both is a little complicated. You find it the other way around.
Well, I didn't have a choice. You know, when I first started playing, there wasn't another singer in the band, and I sang every song. So, so they said, "Well, you just have to do both at the same time."
Yeah.
And so I started out, you know, expecting to have to do that. And
right.
then when I started playing reggae, it became much more complicated.
We will talk about
both things at the same time, but I was able to pull it off, you know. And people ask me, "How do you do that?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I don't know, because if I stop to think about it, I can't do it."
What was your introduction to reggae?
I was living in Haleiwa, Hawaii, out in the country in a shack out in the jungle. And we used to play variety. We played anything we could play to get paid. Jazz, country, rock and roll, rhythm and blues. And there was a little record store across the highway from my house. And one day I went over there to buy some rolling papers. And,
rolling papers.
Yeah. So I'm in there and I see this Bob Marley record, and I never saw anything like it before. I never heard of it or anything. But he was smoking a big joint. And I looked at the thing, and it talked about "I shot the sheriff," and I went, "Well, hell, that's for me." So I bought the record, and I took it back across the road into the jungle, and we had our PA set up as a stereo in the house, you know. So we put that record on, and me and the guys in the band were listening, and we started saying, "How in the hell are they playing like that? How do they do that?" You know? And so it became a topic of conversation and a topic of interest of, you know, how we could make the rhythm sound like that.
Right.
So we, I guess, learned about 4 songs finally, 5 songs maybe, off of that record, and we would play them at our gigs in Hawaii, and the people went crazy over it. I never heard anything like that.
Wow.
Unknown caller.
We would have to play them every set.
Nice.
You know, they wanted us to play it all the time.
Nice.
So we figured, well, we better learn some more of this, you know.
5 is a little limiting, huh?
Yeah, well, we didn't know what they would think of it at first, you know.
Right. What year are we talking?
Huh?
What year are we talking then?
About 1973.
Okay, yeah.
Catch a fire, right?
Yeah, it was Catch a Fire record, I think.
The album.
Yeah.
The project. So talk a little about how you two got together. Was it from radio, RJ?
Just from the reggae scene in Austin, you know.
Okay.
Mo's girlfriend runs Flamingo Cantina.
Hold on. Again, we can't gloss by Flamingo Cantina. I mean, that's a legendary spot. Now, what's the capacity in Flamingo Cantina? It ain't that much.
About 315.
Right. Yet still, it's a stop. I mean, the who's who in reggae plays Flamingo Cantina, especially
the Meditations is tonight.
See what I'm saying? Especially, I was going to say, especially the veterans. The veterans definitely.
Yeah, the older band.
I gotta ask, what's admission? Because I'm in the business side of the business. What's the admission for a night like tonight with the Meditations with only 100 capacity?
It'd probably be $20-25.
Jeez. So it's not about the gate. You probably make a good chunk at the bar, but 300 still. You're going to get 300 in there, aren't you?
Well, that's our hope, you know. And the downtown scene in Austin is a little bit out of whack right now. There's hardly any place to park, stuff like that. So that, you know, sometimes it's full and sometimes it's not. But Meditations have been here many, many times.
Right, Yellow Man.
Ansel's a good friend, and so we expect a good crowd tonight.
Nice. But nonetheless, it's been the home for reggae music for a long time. I mean,
30 years.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the who's who, look at their tour schedule. So somewhere the Cantina is in there, you know. And it's not about the numbers. I guess it's just paying homage to the support that location has given reggae music.
Well, yeah, and it's the vibe.
Yeah.
The vibe in that place. And if you really want to see somebody that, you know, is famous in reggae,
right?
They're playing there. You'll never see them in a better place.
Right. The vibe.
But,
yeah.
You know, you're up close, and the sound system is just excellent. And you know, the sound people running sound are really good. You can tell all of that by looking at our live stream every Wednesday night when the Mau Mau's play, when I play.
Right.
And it's always on our Facebook page, on Flamingo's Facebook page. And you can put that mix in your stereo and it sounds like a record.
Wow.
Yeah.
Committed to reggae on all aspects, because that's a great point, because a lot of places stream reggae, but it's more of a buzz sometimes because the bass line is just killing the audio or something like that. But you guys
that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, you guys are committed to quality. All right, so if Jen hasn't warned you, you know, I ask the questions that everybody else thinks, but I'm looking at the two of you. How much of a novelty are two white guys that are so entrenched in reggae, or is Austin the place for acceptance like that?
There's people on both sides of that. You know, there's people who can't get past the fact that we're white.
Right.
But I've been dealing with this since 1973.
Yeah, God bless you, man.
God. You know, I've been called out, but you know, I've toured with most of the major reggae acts out there, and I got their respect.
Right.
And, so that's what matters to me, and you know, there's plenty of people here who realize the value of what we're doing. And so
you're talking to one right now, all right? Just let me let you know, you're talking to one right now, because what you guys have kept alive, not even just doing, but just kept alive, the scene that you guys have kept alive for the reggae scene is just remarkable. When you tour, Mo, you're touring as a bassy? Is that what it is?
Well, I play with the Mau Mau Chaplains here in town. We don't tour too much. There's 10 of us.
No, when you used to tour, I'm saying when you went on when
I used to tour, yeah.
Bassy?
I was the front man for the Lotions, and I played bass for the Lotions
Okay.
a lot of the time. So
Okay, so you're calling some names that if you're really entrenched in reggae, you'll know. But the average black reggae lover aren't necessarily familiar with these names. Let's talk a little bit about the reggae scene with those bands, because I'll tell you, I've emceed those shows and the turnout is absolutely phenomenal. Here in Florida, they actually call it beach reggae or surf reggae on this side because we got water. But the band support, these guys have no problem putting 500 and 1,000 people in a venue. Absolutely no problem. Let's talk about, I don't want to call it white reggae, but the reggae that is in the white community.
well, you know, when we first started playing here, which was in about 78, I guess 76, somewhere in there, no one knew what reggae was here. And
Texas.
in Texas, in Austin particularly. I remember the newspaper interviewer, because when we started playing, we were called the Lotions, and when we first started playing, we didn't know if it would be successful or not, but right away we were very, very, very popular. Right away, like within a month of when we started.
What do you attribute that to? Because before you answer,
I attribute it, well, we were a good band, and you know, their showmanship and all that.
Come on, Moe, but you're in Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
you're in Texas.
it's the music. It was the music.
Right. The power of music.
It probably could have been anybody, but it was
you. Okay. But RJ, from a radio standpoint, at that point, where was reggae?
nowhere.
Non-existent? Non-existent. This is what I'm asking you. Yeah, you know, I could understand if there was a reggae DJ or a reggae station. Now, I wouldn't even push it for a reggae station, but you know, 2 o'clock in the morning on some station, they give an hour or two to, but that's not happening.
No, it wasn't. I mean, to give you an idea, like I was going to say, the guy's interviewing me, and because we're this big sensation, you know, and he says, "Well, you play reggae," and I said, "Yes, sir. We that's what we play." And he says, "Well, are you gay, or is it the whole band that's gay?"
Wow.
But that's what the local press were. That's where they were, you know, about that.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we became very popular here and all over the Southwest because we would tour. And so people knew us, the Lotions, for playing reggae, but they didn't know the Jamaican artists at all.
Right.
Okay, so every time Peter Tosh would come, or Third World, or Toots, or whoever it was, come to town, we would have to open because otherwise no one would come. And so we went all over the Southwest, all the way to Alabama, and all the way to Florida, and all the way to New Mexico and Colorado, and all that with those artists.
Opening for them.
Yes, because otherwise people wouldn't show up. Now, after they showed up and they saw Peter Tosh or whoever, they're fans of Peter Tosh.
Right.
Know what I mean?
Hey, like you're losing fans. It's just that Peter Tosh is gaining fans. That's all.
Well, yeah, they didn't stop listening to us. It's just that they started listening to them.
Right. What was your set list like? Are you doing covers or are you doing original?
Back then we did mostly covers, and if it was an artist that we were covering that we were playing with, we wouldn't do his song.
Right.
But we also had original material as well, and that got airplay.
So there was a great chance of an artist, a reggae artist, a Jamaican reggae artist, coming to Austin and the crowd knowing their songs, but not from them, but from you.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So when did reggae reach radio, RJ? When did you?
Well, so the station I work on, that I've been working on since 1984, KAZI, which is on his shirt.
See, I like.
Yeah. That station came on the air in 1982, and when they came on, somehow they had reggae on Tuesday nights and reggae on Sundays.
Right.
And so when I started in high school playing hip hop and R&B, I didn't really know reggae yet. But a few years later, like I said, I told you my story of KRS-One and Sly and Robbie and Bob Marley and everything. And that whole world just opened up for me. So reggae came on the radio in Austin in '82.
Were you surprised at the reception because of people like Moe? Do you attribute any of the success on radio to the bands that dared to actually play reggae in the years prior?
I think, back then there was Liberty Lunch was another notorious venue that did a lot of big road shows in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And Moe used to play there. They had a residency there. So they were planting all the seeds and watering them continuously. So
every week.
I think they had a big part of that scene growing and developing.
When I tell you, Moe, and you, RJ, when I tell you that it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys, because, I read up and I know the names. I didn't think I'd ever meet Moe, but it's really cool to be able to talk to you, because I know how far back you go, and I know, like RJ just said, the seeds that you guys have planted. And for those who don't know what the reggae scene is over there, it's humongous. And to be able to talk to guys like you who are there at the forefront and the foundation, all I can say is thank you. All I can say is thank you, man, because I'm getting messages right now from people who have either lived in Texas or know about the Austin reggae scene, and they're just blowing up. They're sending me messages like, yo, the reggae scene is crazy over there and stuff like that. When you look at reggae that you're putting out now, and we're going to talk a little, because I got a track by Moe that I got queued up. When you look at reggae now, from a producer, now you're producing now, right, RJ?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been doing that?
I started producing I bought an 808 in 1987.
Wow.
I started doing beats then, and then later I bought a drum set and started playing.
Okay.
And my first album. I did my first album on 2-inch tape in around 1989.
and I keep asking people who produce, if you had a number to give me on the length of time that was here, because I think that was the shortest lived piece of sensational equipment that ever came through. That had about 6 months, I think, if that long.
I'm happy to say I missed that whole chapter, because I went from analog tape to computer. And
okay,
Mo's got stories about DAT machines, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I know, man.
DAT machines, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the shortest. Everybody said you got to go DAT, and by the time everybody got that was done.
That was over.
That was done. All right, Mo, let's talk about this. 29 after the hour. Alan Moe Montserrat. Now, before we really get into this, Mo, this has everything mixed up in there. There's a little ska. There's reggae. Talk to me about this track.
That's probably the least reggae influenced track on any of my records. But down here, that sort of music is very popular, and they play it on the radio and things. So, but really, that the song is about, let's say you have a girlfriend, you just got together with her, and now you move into the same house, and now all your friends come over, and all of her friends come over, but you don't know her friends and she don't know your friend. So she'll pick a guy, or you'll pick somebody that she knows, and you go, why you hang out with that person? Because that person is, you know, he picks his nose or something, you know.
Right.
So my deal is I don't have any perfect friends. You know, and I don't think anybody else does either.
Right,
So,
right.
I thought I would write a song about I ain't got no perfect friends. And I don't know where the whole Latin American thing came from, but
Yeah, well, it's the horns, right? You have the Latin horns in there.
You know, these guys I play with, they play all kind of music. They're in other bands too, so
right.
I try to incorporate, you know, things that aren't normal, maybe in reggae. Now that I've already made reggae records till I'm blue in the face, I try to mix in other things just to make it a little more interesting for me, anyway. And so I got Joel Guzman to play accordion, and he plays with Paul Simon.
Ah.
And he's also a Grammy-winning conjunto artist, which conjunto is a Mexican kind of polka music,
right?
You know.
I
got him to play the accordion, which adds a lot towards that Latin feel. But
right.
The great thing about this song is that if you've never heard it before, you can be singing it by the end.
It's real simple, huh?
I watch people do it all the time, you know.
Title
nightclub.
Title track of the project, right?
Huh?
Title track of the project, right?
That's the title track of our compilation project. Yes,
right.
sir.
Right.
Every day you ask me why I hang around with the same old guys. The little junior wears the disco clothes. He runs his finger right up his nose. I know they get under your skin, but I ain't got no perfect friend. I ain't got no perfect friend. Something's wrong with every one of them. I know they smoke and drink and cuss a lot, but they're the only friends I've got. They come and get me when my truck breaks down, 40 miles outside of town. They've been with me through thick and thin, but I ain't got no perfect friend.
Alan Moe Montserrat, I ain't got no perfect friend. That should be my title track. Every time I walk into a room,
I think we can all relate to it, right?
Yeah. Every time I walk into a room, that should be played. You know.
Hey, Rockwell, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you still doing weddings?
Absolutely.
Well, I gave up weddings to do this, so that I'm not doing weddings anymore.
I remember I think that's what the kind of the platform we met on, right?
Yeah.
You know, no. Oh no. I asked me if I'm doing clubs, and I would tell you, heck no, I'm doing all. Well, you know, I'm not as young as Mo that and can walk out of a club at 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. I'm done.
I'm not getting married anymore.
I'm kind of scared to ask what number you're at. Don't answer it. Don't answer it. All right, let's RJ. The first thing that caught me about this project, RJ, is the mix. The mix is incredible, bro.
Thank you.
The mix is, I should say mix and master, because I've heard a lot of final mixes and then it comes back for mastering and it's worse than the final mix. So the mix, let me include the mastering as well, but it's such a crisp, clean sound, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But there is country western writing on a Latin influenced reggae track. That's the only way I can describe it more. I mean, it has a very country writing flair on this one.
I used to write professionally for a publishing company, and they were based in Nashville. So I wrote I don't know, a couple of hundred at least country songs for them. And I used to play we used to have a country band here on the side, and we used to tour Europe.
Okay.
They were called Stop the Truck, and it was mostly all original country that we wrote. I find writing country songs extremely easy to do, and I know it probably slips into my other kind of writing style that I have, the other genres that I write in. But you know, the thing about it is you got to keep things simple. And country music is famous
for being simple.
Keeping things simple.
Yeah.
In other words, if there's a 4-year-old kid walking down the street hearing my song, I want that kid to understand what I'm talking about.
At least catch the hook, right?
Yeah, you know, and I figure if a little kid can understand it,
right,
then everybody can understand.
Right. Nice. Now, the artists that you put together on this project, RJ, what's the affiliation? I got Philip Idon, and I just saw a clip of him, I think DJing on a set or singing on a set. Just, I think I caught it on Facebook, I think. So tell me a little about the reasons you have. You have Mark Wilson, you have Moe, Sean Austin. I opened with Uncle Winky. These artists, what's the plan that you have for this project?
Well, I mean, the plan is that all my friends need help getting their works out and making records.
Right.
Mark Wilson, the sax player, he played with Burning Spear for 6 years, okay?
Right, okay.
But a lot of people in Austin have no idea that who he is and what he's done and what he's accomplished.
There's a lot going on here.
So we put out his song, Rudy's Dream, as a single from this project. And that's his debut single. And so I'm seeing all my friends with all this talent going,
oh, yeah.
You've never put a record out. Come on, I've known you for 20-something, 30 years.
Right.
We got to put our heads together. So I'm really here to support my community of musicians in Austin and in the world, around the world.
Right.
And the main thing is to put more love into this music and to put more love into the world and to just share what's in our hearts that can't be denied. And for me, I just finally came to accept that it's reggae music. This is what I'm here for.
You know, you're absolutely right, because as deep as I am, you know, the radio side, the disc jockey side, the MC side, you get to see a lot. And you're absolutely right. I have been concerts where, you know, after the band takes the first break, I'm like, something's missing. What's missing? Like, oh, John couldn't make it. The guy on the horns couldn't make it. And that's when you realize the difference, the contribution that each individual player and member, background vocals, if they switch out background vocals, you're like, something's not quite right. You might not be able to put your finger on it, but it's recognizable. So that's very cool. You talk about Mark Wilson. Before we get out of here, you're touring with the legendary Spear for 6 years, and 2022 is the first time you're putting out something of your own. Oh, by the way, everybody wants to know where they can find this project, or they can download this project.
It's everywhere. It's on all the stores and all the iTunes, Amazon, everywhere.
It's called Perfect Friends.
Yep.
And I know it is Perfect Friends. Give me the download details. How they Perfect Friends.
If you go to album.link/perfectfriends, you can find it everywhere.
Album.link/Perfect Friends. 39 after the hour, folks. I'm blown away by the quality, man. Quality is solid. So, RJ, now that you've given up radio,
I haven't given up radio. I have not given up radio.
Only wedding.
Oh, only weddings.
That makes two of us.
Really, I can see from your standpoint, boy. A wedding band is that's just I know that's rough. Wedding
Well,
DJs.
I was doing weddings as a DJ like you.
Right. Well, wedding DJs, and it's funny because the reason I thoroughly enjoy it is with one place that I get to play a little of everything. You know what I mean? You go into a club, especially down with 6 DJs. You kind of forced into the set because they already played, the guy before you played reggae. You don't want to come back and play reggae again, so you got to go R&B or funk or soca or something like that. And you might never get to play reggae for the whole night, or you might never get to play a genre. Weddings, as you know, for a wedding band, you got to learn a little everything, right? Yeah. But I gotta ask you though, RJ, why
did I switch?
Well, why did you? I mean, couldn't you do both?
I just got to a point where I did weddings for 14 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew what was in my heart. I knew what was in my heart is to produce and build rhythms.
Ah, okay.
It's always been there. It's always doing it.
I get it. Yeah.
I finally decided, enough is enough. Let's move forward.
I got a lecture a couple of years ago. And I am really trying. It seems like you've picked up on it already, but I got a lecture from someone and listen, Rockwell, you can't do 2 things perfectly. You might do 2 things really well, but you can't do 2 things perfectly. Something deserves the majority or all of your time to do it perfectly. And you got to choose one. But where I am now, I'd rather do a little half good because I still love my radio. But weddings are I love doing weddings. Mm-hmm. The joy for me is when someone walks up to me and says, wow, I haven't seen grandma and grandpa dance all my life. You know what I mean? That kind of, Mo is like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not about jamming the dance floor. It's about creating the kind of vibe that people want to be a part of, that grandma and grandpa wants to get up, even if grandpa got a bad hip and got to hold on to the chair, you got to do a little shuffle. You get me, right, Mo?
I got a lot of stories about, I've had couples that were married like 55, 60 years, and I get them out on the dance floor and
Yep.
people are just like emotional, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And I pride myself when I walk into certain venues and the photographer and the videographer looks at me and go, oh, you're here? Oh, great. That kind of thing, because they know they can sell that video.
Right.
All right.
You know that you're professional and you take care of business.
So I got to let you know, I'm getting an incredible response to just the 2 tracks that I've played. People are like, where can we download it and stuff? And like I said, the quality on this thing, RJ, solid, brethren, solid.
Well, I want to take a moment and give some props to my heroes. And my hero, for one, as an engineer, is Stephen Stanley.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And the fact that I get to work with him, he mixes some of our tracks.
Nice.
He's absolutely my hero. I've been studying his music since the Tom Tom Club, since 1982, since Rumors, everything.
Right.
All those tracks he's mixed for Gussie Clark,
right,
for Penthouse, I just want to be like my heroes,
Yeah, nice. Well, you're well on your way, bro, because I'm telling you, this thing is clean. It is clean. All right, I got to jump, but I got to say, Mo, RJ, thank you so much. Hey, RJ, keep the link, bro. It's nice to finally talk to you. It's been years, sure, back and forth. Thank you for what you're doing in Austin. Thank you so much, Mo. I got to make sure on my bucket list. I got to get to Austin. I got to get to Austin. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Thanks a lot, guys. The name of the project is Perfect Friends, and give us the link one more time, RJ.
It's album.link/Perfect Friends. And I also want to let folks know, you see here on my shirt, Rockwell, you can see Mo has an album we did in 2020 called Agriculture.
Culture, right.
Got 20 tracks, 10 vocal tracks and 10 dub tracks.
All right. Get it to me, all right?
I will.
All right, man. Mo, thanks a lot, bro. Keep jamming.
Thank you.
RJ, thanks a lot. Guidance and protection, all right?
Yeah, yes.
50 before the top of the hour. Freestyle Friday is what we call it. DJ RJ. Alan Mo Montserrat. It's a Wake Up and Live show. We're going to be talking with Hazel Rogers in about a minute.
You ask me why I hang around with the same old guys. A little